Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Rough Draft Sportscast. I am your host, Damon Kennedy. So let's just get right into this thing, man. So just for a moment, let's just set aside the fact that I am a diehard, bleed the blue and silver Dallas Cowboy fan. And let's just purely look at an objective opinion here. What the hell is Dak thinking? You better sign that 5-year, $35 million deal and let's go get a chip or two and stop playing. You are a 4th-round draft pick, started the season as a 3rd stringer, had a shaky start to camp, and lightning struck in Dallas twice in the form of a Kellen Moore broken leg and a Romo broken back, and boom, you are now the QB1 for the Dallas Cowboys. Now granted, Dak played his ass off and had some big games. I personally would have handed the keys back to Romo and let him finally play with the supporting cast that he deserved. I mean, shit, they could have at least let him compete for the job, but I will still say that we would have beat Green Bay that year if we had let Romo start. That's a whole nother tangent that I don't want to get into, but they should have let Romo compete for that job, man. There's no reason that he should have just been shut out. Yes, we were on a win streak, but I just know Romo would have got us there. But seriously, Dak makes a ton of money in endorsements for someone with 2 playoff wins and no Super Bowl appearances. And why do you think that is? It's because he is the QB1 for the Dallas Cowboys. You ain't making that kind of money in Buffalo or Jacksonville. You could sell some snowmobiles and some solar panels, Dak, but you ain't selling no Greek yogurt and sleep number mattresses, so stop it. Take the smaller number so Stephen Jones and Will McClay can continue to build a team around you because you have not proven that you can lift a team alone. You have 3 now amazing wide receivers, a top 3 running back, a top 10 offensive line, and a brand new offensive-minded head coach with not only a proven track record of QB development, but also a Super Bowl ring to top it all off. It is time for you, Dak, to tell your agent to get the hell up out the way. Let's sign this deal. Let's get a chip. If you want some more money, sell some more damn yogurt. But stop trying to hold the feet to the fire of the Jones family, man. Take this $32 to $35 million. Put yourself in the top 3 of active QBs. And come on, man. You got a whole just set of firepower around you right now. Especially with the fact that they just drafted CeeDee Lamb. You better stop playing and go ahead and sign this deal and come on in. And stop it with this BS that you're worth more than $35 million. You acting like they offering you $35,000 a year, Dak. Come on, man. This is getting ridiculous. Are you going to be the new Sprewell? Are you the new Latrell Sprewell? How am I supposed to take care of my family with $35 million? Listen, there are people who take care of their families with less. You need to stop it with the BS. Go ahead and sign this deal for the 5 years. Tell your agent to get the hell out of the way. Tell him shut up. Tell him shut up. I'm headed to Jerry's office. Sign that deal right now, man, and stop playing. And let's go get this chip. You are doing the most right now thinking you deserve all that money. Stop it. You got 2 playoff wins. I love the Cowboys. I love you, Dak, but it is time to stop it. It is time to be objective. Tell your agent to get the hell out the way or whatever you need to do. Get into Jerry's office. Sign this damn deal. The offices are open. The star is open. Jerry there. You know the way. Put it in the GPS. And come on, get in Jerry's office and let's sign this deal, man. Let's get this chip and stop it with the nonsense. You are not worth no $40 million. You are not Pat Mahomes. Stop it. Let's go on and sign this deal, man. You got a whole team around you ready to roll, baby. Let's do this thing. I mean, honestly, if you that hell-bent on getting more than $35 million a year, has Kirk Cousins not told you anything? If you really feel like you are worth more money than that, go ahead and sign the franchise tag, ball out the way that you think you're going to ball out, and then you can name your price. Kirk Cousins has shown y'all the way to get this guaranteed money. He went ahead and accepted that franchise tag. He made the most out of it, and now he's making more money than he ever thought he was going to see in his whole entire life. I guarantee you that. So, either way, Dak, you need to come on in and stop it with this nonsense, man. Because honestly, the Cowboys have shown you that they have put a contingency plan in place in the name of the Red Rocket Andy Dalton. So you need to come on and stop playing, man. They're giving you $31.4 million in an exclusive rights franchise tag. That is already quadruple what you have made on the field. So come on. They're giving you $31 million. If you don't want that, they're offering you $35 million a year for 5 years. That's generational money. But if you don't want it, Dak, we will play with Andy Dalton. With the offense that we have provided, I will play with Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton can get us to 8-8, Dak. You got us to 8-8 last year. Andy Dalton can get us to 8-8. honestly, Andy Dalton might be able to get us to 10-6 with the type of offensive firepower that we have around us right now. All he's got to do is manage the game, and that's all we asking you to do, to manage the game. We're not asking you to take things over. We're not asking you to throw the ball 40 times. You got to turn around, hand this thing off, and if it's not there, if the box is stacked, you got a million different ways that you can go with the ball. Stop acting like it is about to be you against the world, because it's not. It's about to be you looking at 6-man boxes, because now they got to roll some coverage over to CD, or they got to roll some coverage over to Gallup, or they got to make sure that they're taking care of Cooper. And you ain't going to be seeing these 8 and 9-man boxes no more. And Zeke is about to eat like he has never eaten before. So I hope that man comes back. You know what? Let's talk about Zeke for a second, because he better come back in the best shape of his life. I don't want to see nothing with him, hands on his hips, none of that, man. I want to see Zeke coming out the gate eating. He needs to carry this ball 25 to 30 times a game, and then we need to make them play a regular base defense against us so that we can eat on the underneath routes, and then Gallup can get over the top. We are about to be a dangerous offense, Dak. So you better get on board, or we're going to let Andy Dalton quarterback this thing for way less money than we're paying you right now. We're paying Andy Dalton about $3 million, and you don't want to take $31.4 because you feel like you're being disrespected by $31.4 million in an exclusive rights tag after we've already offered you $35 million for the 2 playoff wins that you have gotten us. We have shown you all the confidence in the world for a 4th-round pick. We've shown you more confidence than any other 4th-round quarterback will be getting. So you better take this $35 million and let's roll, man. You got way too many weapons around you to act like you got nothing around you, that you need all this money because you carrying the team. If anything, the team is carrying you, because anytime that everything is not A-OK and everything is not right, you can't survive 1 game without a Tyron Smith. You couldn't survive 6 games without Zeke Elliott. So stop it. You led us to an 8-8 record last year. You better take this $31.4 million on this franchise tag and ball out if you want more money. Or you better turn around and tell Mr. Jones, I appreciate it. Let me get this $35 million up off you and let me come on with it. And Michael Irvin talking about you deserve back pay for 4 years of stealing. You are a 4th-round draft pick. What do you think that we owe you as a 4th-round draft pick? If anything, this is exactly what you were supposed to do, was prove yourself. And if they asking you to prove yourself one more time, then if you so confident in your abilities and you feel like you deserve more than $35 million, then prove it. Come on out here and throw for another 4,000 plus yards. And this time we better be better than 8-8. We better be in the NFC Championship game, and that thing better be close. It better be close. We better have just missed the Super Bowl by an inch. And you better have had your best game ever, and we better have to blame it on somebody else, because if we get to a point where we need you to come through and you don't do it again and you talking about you want more money, get out of here, man. Get out of here. That's enough. Dak, you need to go ahead and sign this deal, because this is getting to be too much. I don't want to talk about this Dak Prescott thing anymore. It's too much. It's borderline disrespectful at this point. They're offering you $35 million, more money than you would ever thought you would see in your whole life, generational wealth. Take care of your mama's family and everybody else. So stop it. Take this money. And while we're on the subject of contract disputes, Dalvin Cook is now holding out for a better contract. I mean, I guess you could look at it from both sides on the Dalvin Cook thing. I mean, on the Dalvin Cook side, you could say, hey, I ran for 1,135 yards, 13 touchdowns, and I had 53 catches. It's time to pay me. And the Vikings could say, yeah, and we appreciate it. However, the year before you played 11 games, and the year before that it was 4 games. Oh, by the way, you also have some lengthy injury history. So if I'm the Vikings, I let Dalvin Cook continue to hold out. He would only be hurting his own pockets at this point. The Vikings really have no true incentive to give him big dollars. 1 season of production out of 3 injury-shortened seasons does not warrant holdout leverage. So, sorry, Mr. Cook, it's either show up for camp, play a full season, and then we can talk about money, or hopefully you made smart enough investments to miss out on $3 million. Because as of right now, 1 season of 1,135 yards does not mean that you need to be getting top 5 running back money. You're going to have to show way more production on a way more consistent basis if you want to be getting that type of bread. So I'm not exactly sure where he thinks that he's going to get this leverage from, but as of right now, if I'm the Vikings, I hold out. You know, I basically would force him to come to camp and force him to give me another year. I mean, they've got a stellar defense. They just gave Kirk Cousins more money, and don't tell me I don't know why. So don't ask me why Kirk Cousins has figured out a way to fleece the NFL out of all this money. I've already realistically have made my feelings known about this. Like, I think Kirk Cousins is one of the greatest negotiators in the world. I think that his agent deserves all the money in the percentage points that he gets, because Kirk Cousins has fleeced the entire world out of hundreds of millions of dollars. But that's neither here nor there. Get your bread, Kirk. But on the flip side, Dalvin Cook, you have no legs to stand on this one, man. You're going to have to give us another full season. You're going to have to play a full 16 games. You're going to have to lead your team to the playoffs. I mean, you're damn near going to have to lead the league in rushing because, with the type of money that you're looking for, you're going to have to give us way more production than that. And speaking of increased running back production, I just want to circle back to this Zeke thing really quick, because there's something that I really, really hope the Cowboys figure out a way to utilize this year, and that's the run-pass option. I mean, Dak Prescott ran that in college. Zeke was at his most effective and his most explosive running that in college. We have a younger offensive line this year. We've replaced a couple pieces. Let's get these elephants on parade, man. We got some young, agile guys on our line. Let's get these guys moving. It is way easier to move these linemen out of the way when they are already moving laterally. So the RPO needs to become a part of our game, because right there, that forces that defensive end to make a decision. So already we're going to be facing, lighter boxes. So now it's going to make that defensive end make that decision, or make that outside linebacker make that decision, or make that safety step up for just a second. I don't know why we are not utilizing the RPO game. I mean, we need to be using that. I would say at least a good 40% of our runs. Us just lining up with one, just Zeke in the backfield and running it into the teeth of the defense is not working for us. We need to get these linemen moving. We need to get them pulling. We actually need to take a little bit of stress off of Tyron Smith that way, so that he can be the backside guy. And, all he has to do is just kind of move his guy out of the way, kind of turn him a little bit, and he wouldn't have to do so much in the run game. So I think that with, the center that we have, the two guards that we have, I think that we need to start moving this line. We need to start moving this pocket, because, honestly, Dak has not shown us that he can manipulate a pocket yet, so we need to start making sure that Dak can be on the move, when he's making his throws, because that seems to be when he's most effective. But yeah, man, we need to get Zeke involved in this RPO game, because that's when he's most explosive. Yes, he's really good at the one-cut stuff, but when those linemen are kind of moving and creating creases for him, that's when he gets in there, because that elusiveness factor that he had his rookie year just hasn't been there any longer. So, at this point, we need to utilize his strengths, which is once he gets his shoulders squared to the line and he explodes, he's going to make some people hurt. Or once he gets in the open field, he's going to make some people miss. Now, he doesn't have that home run speed anymore. He's not going to hit that 75-yarder on you any longer, but he's going to grind you up. And so that's what we need to do, is really utilize that RPO game in order to open up some holes underneath. I keep telling people, man, this offense is going to be absolutely dangerous if we use it correctly. We need to go to a little bit more of an open spread shotgun RPO, where Dak can make a quick read on one side of the field. If it's not there, he knows where his check down is. Let's make this thing simple. Let's make the plays fast. Let's get the ball out of his hands, because he holds on to it too long. He makes it, when he's asked to make too many reads, it just doesn't work for him. Let's make it quick. Let's get the ball out fast. If it's not there, we run the ball with Zeke. But either way, we need to start attacking defenses in a multitude of ways, so that they don't know what we're doing every single time, because we got really, really vanilla, especially on the road, and we were quite predictable. I could have told you what we were running 60% of the time just watching it at home on my TV. So we need to start moving some things around. We need to be utilizing some motion and all that. But look, I'm going off into a whole nother Cowboys tangent now. But basically, this is what we need to do to be successful. So I think that Dak needs to go ahead and just sign that tender, come in, see what kind of offense that they're running with. Because honestly, at the end of the day, who knows what Dak is actually thinking about this new quarterbacks coach, about this new staff. We don't know if he's bought into the Mike McCarthy system. I don't think that that's something that we've actually delved into. Do we know how Dak feels about the Mike McCarthy system? Is he perhaps pulling these kind of power moves with this contract so that he can be a free agent and he can go somewhere else? But I kind of feel like if that was his motivation, he would have already signed that franchise tender, and his agent would have already started working some things out behind the scenes. So maybe I'm kind of going into a deep web type of thing there, but I don't know, man. This whole thing is it's wearing me out. But in other news, MLB owners and players still can't come to an agreement on their season duration. They can't come into agreement on compensation. So, as of a couple days ago, the owners now offered up, their proposal with a 76-game scheduled season with approximately a prorated 75% of the salary. The season would end in late September, and the playoffs will be done hypothetically by October. And then teams that made the playoffs would get some type of pay bonus. I would assume it would get them, probably to their 100%. And the players are not having it. They basically, the players want about 114 games and they want 100% of their salary. They're like, look, whatever you need to do, whatever beans you need to move, I need all my cheese. So, basically, they are severely far off from each other. Essentially the owner's offer of games just keeps going down and down and down, and the players are staying, pretty much consistent. They want somewhere around that 114, 115 game season because they want all their money. I don't really see that happening. I think the players are probably going to be the ones that are going to have to bend on this one because they want to get paid. Honestly, the owners some of them would actually stand to lose less money if they just don't play the season at all at this point. So, I think this one is going to be a real interesting one to look at because, there's a couple different factors that go into it. Number one, baseball is not really the sport here in America that it used to be. They play a lot of odd, weird times. Like, I don't know many people who are sitting down to watch, a Pirates game at 2:15 on a Tuesday. Like, I just, like, it just doesn't really go like that. Like, their ticket sales were already kind of declining as it is, and viewership was already declining as it is. Baseball is in need of some serious resurgence. So no matter what happens with this 2020 season, I think that they really need to they need to spice some things up, man. They need to add some cool things into it. They need to do players need to be mic'd up. The dugouts need to be mic'd up. Something needs to happen. All-Star Weekend is the most boring thing in the world when it comes to the MLB. Everything about baseball needs to be revamped. This whole, America's pastime. No, it's past time that baseball gets, basically with it, man. They need to step into this century. It's ridiculous. Everything about baseball is based in old folklore, and it's time for them to revamp. So, I kind of look at the MLB like a soap opera, Like, they need compelling storylines, and they always need kind of like a villain, to make it interesting in order for people to watch throughout, a duration of a 182 game season, which still, why are they playing 182 games? That is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like I said, nobody is showing up for a Tuesday 2:15 game. I work, bruh. It's not gonna, I'm sorry, can't do it. There's no way. So, I'll check it on my phone, maybe, and if it's the middle of the season, I'm not watching that. I don't really start. I honestly am like most Americans where I don't really start digesting baseball at a full scale until we get close to the playoffs, at least until after the boring-ass All-Star break. But, they need some things to make it interesting. We can't keep going back to the old storylines of the Pete Roses, and will he or won't he get into the Hall of Fame? No, it's over for that man. He's not getting into the Hall of Fame. Let's talk about the steroid era for a minute, too. 95 to 2001, which was the golden age for me as far as baseball, because you had Sammy Sosa when he was still black, Mark McGwire, and Barry Bonds when his head was a normal size, because something happened to old Barry. Man, them Roys blew that man's head up. But anyway, basically, 95 to 2001 was the steroid era when Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, and Barry Bonds and those boys were just smacking balls out the yard. Sosa in 98 did 66 home runs. In 99, he had 63 home runs. In 2001, he had 64 home runs. He was smacking it. Mark McGwire, 70 home runs in 98, 65 home runs in 99. Then he dropped down to that 24, I think it was like 24 or 29 home runs in 2001. And Barry Bonds didn't really catch on fire until 2001 when he had that historic season where he hit that 73 home runs. But baseball actually owes a lot of their current following to that steroid era, because from 1995 to 2001, their attendance rose by 44%, their ticket prices rose by 78%, and their overall revenue increased by 115%. They went from $1.4 billion in revenue to $3.7 billion in revenue off the strength of these guys taking these steroids and smacking these balls out of the yard. They even had pitchers in on it. Remember the whole Chicks Dig the Long Ball Nike commercial back in the day with like Heather Locklear, and I think it was like Greg Maddux. It was funny. So I do remember that. But everybody was eating off this steroid era thing, and it made baseball fun. It made it cool. People were actually watching. There was a Barry Bonds watch. Every time that man stepped up to the plate, ESPN was, switching over to them. And that's what I think baseball needs to do too. They need to come up with some type of like NFL red zone, but a type of thing for baseball, because that's the fun times to watch baseball. Like if you figure out, somebody's in the middle of almost having a complete game or something, and they start cutting back every time, they need to start doing that, a kind of a wraparound type of thing, because baseball is boring, and until they put some stuff in there to make it a little bit more interesting, I just really don't tune in until after the All-Star break. But I mean, ultimately this year, no matter how many games they settle on, or if they even play at all, I think the worst part about this whole situation is that we're being robbed of our newest villain, which was the cheating ass Houston Astros. I mean, come on, there is no reason to tune in to baseball regularly during the season without the drama. We wanted to see the reaction from the crowds. We wanted to see the fan signs. We wanted to see the t-shirts. We wanted to hear the boos. And inevitably, we were going to want to tune in to see what the players were going to think about this whole situation. Were there going to be some brushback pitches? Were there going to be some words said? I mean, those stadiums were going to be empty, so you could probably hear a little bit of jawing back and forth, and that was going to make it fun. That was going to make people actually tune in, like I said, at 2:15 on a Tuesday. So honestly, at this point, even if the season begins, they're still going to be getting off easy because the stadiums are going to be empty. People probably won't be watching a whole lot because we don't know what type of format it is. Now, I will say, if baseball does, end up going with a shorter season, that's going to make those games more meaningful. That's going to make those games, more exciting to watch. We'll see what the MLB ends up doing. But I do think that if they go with a shorter season, that people actually tune in, because those games are actually going to mean something every single time. Every single pitch, every single run is going to mean something. So, I mean, the MLB has a lot of throwaway games with this whole 182 game season. I think it's the most idiotic thing in the world. But I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see if and when baseball comes back, and we'll see, how the American people care about it, or if they care about it with, with everything else that's going on. But I know they're ready for this basketball, baby. And that will be back at the end of July as far as the NBA. So, I mean, we'll see what this whole MLB thing is going to be. Honestly, like I said, I don't really start digesting it until after the All-Star break. And, with this shortened season, there won't even be an All-Star break, most likely. So, I mean, we'll see. So as we know, the NBA will be back at the end of July. I am super excited about it. It's going to be 22 teams. They will all be down here in Orlando. I will definitely be covering that for you guys every single chance that I get. We might even be doing multiple shows a week once the NBA comes back on that. But in other quick basketball news, the basketball tournament, or TBT, will be back in July. I actually love watching the TBT because, I mean, number one, it's winner take all for $1 million. Number two, it's like real life old school basketball tournament. It's like every dude that ever dunked on you at the Y or like broke your ankles at a LA Fitness is playing in this thing. And of course, as a basketball, a college basketball fan, it's cool to see former NCAA players get back on the court together. The tournament will be 24 teams. It'll be hosted in Columbus, Ohio from July 4th to 14th, and it'll actually be airing on ESPN and all the ESPN family networks. So I'm looking forward to it. It should actually be, a nice warm up for us before the NBA tips off again at the end of July. It'll be interesting to see how they handle it with, as far as the announcements. And now, no, it's not professional, but, we're finally going to see sports being played in an empty arena and what that's going to be like and what type of energy that brings. So I'm actually excited to see it because, like I said, I mean, the basketball tournament, these guys are playing for $1 million. They're going as hard as they possibly can, and it's cool. I personally like it. It's something that I enjoy watching, so I'm looking forward to it personally. But yeah, the NBA will be back at the end of July. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I can't say that I can take all the credit. I mean, I basically did say that they should only do about 8 to 10 warm-up games. Y'all can check me about that, in the first episode of the Rough Draft Sportscast. But I did say that they should do it down here in Orlando because we have everything that we need to accommodate them. So check mark on that one. They are also doing a play-in game for the 8th seed. Check mark on that one. So I'm excited about all that. Once again, man, I say that at the end of this thing, I think it's going to be the Bucks and the Clippers because they are the deepest teams. They play the best defense, and they just have the best overall chances. I think they have the best overall coaching staff. Now, everybody's going to say, oh, LeBron and Anthony Davis. Look, the Lakers can catch fire at any particular moment. I think that they are amazing. I think that, those two guys are great. I'd still just stick by my original point that LeBron and AD will not be able to do that sustainably, play 46 to 48 minutes of their best basketball, 7 games straight, in each and every series. I think at some point it's going to have to give, and I just think that, some team like the Clippers is going to come along with enough firepower to offset those two guys, and that's going to be the end of it. And then, as far as the East, as long as the Bucks can stay out of their own way and they can, just stick to that brand of basketball that they were playing all season, I think that they're going to be okay. Yes, they will take some losses here and there, and they might, have a couple long series when you get to the semifinals and the Eastern Conference Finals, but I think honestly the better team, which is the Bucks, will prevail. I think it ends up being the Bucks and the Clippers. I've already told you guys this though, but y'all already know, man, I'm riding with the Bucks. But once again, y'all, thanks for joining me on the Rough Draft Sportscast. I am your host, Damon Kennedy. Don't forget that you can follow me on the Podomatic app by searching Damon-Kennedy. That is DAMON-CANADY. You can follow me on Instagram at Rough Draft Sportscast. You can also catch me on Spotify by searching Rough Draft Sportscast. We appreciate y'all. We'll see you next week.